everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are doing a vlog, reading the best books of 2023. So what I decided to do, and I've been wanting to do this for years because I absolutely love when other people do it, like Kayla from Books and Lala, that kind of stuff, where we read other booktubers' favorites for the year. I'm finally doing it. It has been a while since I've been wanting to, and I finally sat down and was like, you know what, I am going to do this. I had 10 different booktubers that I watch religiously that I'll show the playlist here. I decided to save a lot of their videos for a little while, just like collecting things to see who has best of lists. I actually had more than 10 people that I was hoping to see their favorites, but only 10 people ended up having favorites that I wanted to use. Some of these people, so like I know Ren, Kirsty, and Ashley also had like specific manga / comic graphic novel lists. So I wanted to pick something from those as well. And so yeah, I have already previously watched these, and I'm going to tell you about what I'm picking today to read. I had quite a few things from people that I wanted to read, but my library, I guess these are very popular books for some of them, my library did not have the ability for me to get them as an audiobook or an ebook for a lot of things that I wanted to read. So a lot of these are things that I'm pulling off of my owned TBR because that way I knew I could read it. I do have 2 things that I was able to get from the library as well. So let's just sort of get into who I watched and what I'm picking. And if I sound a little bit weird in here, it's because it's a little bit open. We're getting a couch delivered today for this room. We moved this old couch that we had in here into the other room because the one that was in there was our extra old one, and it was like very old. We needed to move it out. We're switching couches around. It's gonna be delivered this afternoon. I feel like I'm a little bit echoey in here, and so if you hear that, that's why. So let's start, I guess, with the people I watched but did not pick anything from. So I watched Lena's video from Sufficiently Advanced Lena. A lot of the books that she was reading and had as favorites for 2023 were sequels, so things that I couldn't easily pick up. She did mention Nailbiter by Joshua Williamson, and she mentioned the whole series, but I have already started reading this series, and the first 2 volumes that I read I gave 4 stars, so I didn't particularly think that this could count as a new favorite and trying to read it since I already started it, so that was why we didn't pick anything from Lena. I also had Kirsty from K-Beth Bookish. Like I mentioned before, Kirsty did have a book list and a manga list. The only problem with this is we have very, very similar reading tastes, and everything that I would have been interested in from her lists are things that I've already read. She had favorites like Cemetery Boys, Under the Whispering Door, I Hear the Sunspot, and Sweat and Soap, things that I absolutely love, but I wasn't able to pick a new thing from. I also had Mel from A Book Fiend Named Mel. I really wanted to pick Half a Soul, but I was not able to get it from my library. And then she also did mention Babel, which I know is some people's extra favorite, and I do have it. However, I'm just not in the mood for that one today, so I decided not to pick anything from Mel this time. I also had Jashana, who I went through a lot of her favorites, and not always in the same genre. Like, we don't always have the same reading taste, but I love watching her videos anyway. But in her honorable mentions, she did have The Wishing Game and The Diviners, but I was not able to get those either. And then I also did watch Kayla from Books and Lala's video. Again, had things that I really wanted to read. I had Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone or Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, but I was not able to get that from my library. So I do have 5 other people that I'm hoping to get to books from their favorite list this week. I really will tell you about what I want to read, and we'll see if we get there. The first one I have here is Isabel from Happy for Now. She has Role Playing by Kathy Yardley. This is something that I have checked out on Kindle Unlimited and just hadn't read it yet, and as soon as I saw her say that it was one of her favorites, I knew I had to pick this one and make it a priority. Like, this is the first thing that I'm going to be reading because it has a demisexual character, which I'm always looking for, and then it also has to deal with like an online MMO or something like that. Like, I am very, very intrigued by this. It is a romance, and so this is definitely one I want to read this week. I also checked out Jessie's video from The Bookish Mom, and she had two things that I wanted to read. One was Assistant to the Villain, which I don't own, but I did also see that she has Song of Silver, Flame Like Night on there by Amelie Wen Zhao, and I definitely want to read that book. I have the Illumicrate edition, which is gorgeous, and I've read Blood Heir, is that what it was called, by Amelie Wen Zhao, like her very first book. I think it was her debut, and I liked it enough, but I wasn't like a new favorite, and so this is a brand new series by this author. The cover and everything is gorgeous. Let me see. I mean, the cover is gorgeous. It is a little bit thick, but I think this is going to be a really fun one. It's going to have the Chinese Asian mythology in there. And so, yeah, I want to read this one this week as well. And then another one I had here that I actually own the book for as well is going to be from Ashley at Bookish Realm. She mentioned, first of all, she mentioned Wilderlore, and this is like the first book was by Amanda Foody. I think it's a middle grade, and I really, really wanted a middle grade from her because she reads across all age ranges just like I do and had favorites for like young readers, middle grade, young adult, and adult stuff. However, again, was not able to get it from my library. So I went with one that I do actually own. It was from her young adult selections, and it's The Spirit Bares Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I have the Rainbow Crate edition, so I have a different cover on top, but it has the original cover underneath. And I just love the way that she was talking about this. It does seem more spooky than anything else that I would potentially be reading this week. So yeah, I had to pick this one up as well. And then moving into my picks that I actually was able to get from my library, I have one from Ren, who is The Reading Ren. I picked Sensory Life on the Spectrum. This is going to be a non-fiction comic anthology about people that have autism and their sensory things. I have heard really good things about this. The reason I picked this is that not only did they mention this in their actual favorites video, they mentioned it on their TBR game, like the most recent video they posted. So I knew I had to do this, and I was able to get it through my Hoopla app for the library. So I do have this. This is probably going to be the quickest read of the week. And then the last one I have here is one from Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, which is Who Fears Death by Nnedi Okorafor. I was able to get the ebook for this from my Libby, so I don't have anything on audiobook, sadly. I was really hoping for some that I was able to read in the car while I drive Presley to and from places. I don't have that. But this is an ebook that I think is a good one to pick because Olivia Savannah and I, again, we have some things that are very, very similar in taste and some things that are very not similar in taste. And this is the same author of Binti, which I think I gave like a 3-star. But this is a like full-length novel, whereas Binti was a novella, and I think that was my biggest issue, was needing more from like the world building and relationships, like just needing it to be fleshed out more. I don't know much else about this except for Olivia Savannah loved it. It is Afrofuturism, and because I did want to try more from this author, I thought it was perfect. So I have 5 things, like I mentioned, that I want to try and read in 1 week. I don't know if it's going to work. I'm really going to be going with role-playing first because it's sad to say I was putting all these videos in order of like when they came out, and so when I was watching all these to try and figure out which books I wanted to read, Isabel's video was last, but as soon as she mentioned it, I knew it was going to be the first thing I wanted to read. So I'm going to be prioritizing role-playing and then probably Sensory Life on the Spectrum because of the fact that it's nonfiction and I don't read very much of those, but it's also a comics anthology. Like, it should be very quick for me to read, and I'm very intrigued by it. And so then the other 3 are going to be the other things that I'm going to see what I want to read as they come up. We do have the fantasy, Song of Silver, Flame Like Night. We do also have the Afrofuturism of Who Fears Death. And then we have the more spooky one of The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. So I'll just have to see what my mood is when we get further into the week for that. I feel like this is a very good range of stuff. And so I am, again, very curious about the books that I did not pick or did not get to read from the other creators that I was following. So I picked like half that I had here, but the books that I wanted to read that I mentioned, I'm going to put them on like my top priority TBR of stuff to get from the library. Like, I already have the Wilderlore audiobook on as a hold from my library because I like to listen to middle grade and young adult things on audiobook in the car because Presley's in there with me and I feel like that would be a very fun one to do. So yeah, this is the introduction. This is the empty and sort of messy living room because we put all the kids stuff in here while we're waiting for the couch to get delivered. I need to edit, and then I guess I'll see you guys when I have a reading update. Good girl. Wow. Okay, so this is obviously not like finalized, but this is the new couch. This is a new piece here. We had a bigger piece of couch over here before, and now it's just a chase, which we had before that was just like this part of a couch and a chase. The animals are not too sure about it. He's one of the only animals that's like actually been on it. There's another one right here, and there's a mess because we have not finalized everything. But this is the new couch. I'm really enjoying it, especially because I don't know if I can do this with only one hand. It has this piece that does sort of pop out and make it like a sleeper bed. It's not the easiest thing to pop out right now, and I don't know if it's going to get easier later, or like, we'll see. But I do like it. It's a little bit stiff right now, but I do feel like the more that we use it, the better it'll be. These cushions are removable and actually quite soft. And so, yeah. Do you like the new couch?
Yes!
Yes. Elliot does too. She's over here. They were playing basketball with their new little soccer balls that we got like yesterday.
I win.
You won like yesterday. So, yeah. The couch is here. I tried to read a little bit of role playing earlier during Elliot's nap time. The only thing is that's exactly when they were delivering the couch as well, so it was very interrupted. Hello. And so I was just thankful that like I put Elliot to nap. They actually showed up an hour early for their time. They were supposed to be here between 3 and 7 and they showed up at 2. And I was thankful that I was able to pick her up and take her into a different room for nap so that we could have this delivered and put together. So yeah, I'm overall pretty happy with it. We just need to like rearrange this room a little bit. Oh, and there's the girl. Sit down, please. Yeah, she's gonna fall off this couch. Good morning and happy Tuesday. The couch is here, which I think I showed yesterday. We still have a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up and reorganized, and so it is a little bit weird. It's also a little bit weird because I'm the only one home right now. This has not happened since kids, I feel like. I've had a couple times where in the morning Presley and Elliot have been at school because Elliot started school around Thanksgiving time. She only goes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but like we've started getting her out of the house because she is so like needs to be on the move, loves to go and like interact and stuff like that. So we wanted to be able to give that to her. And then Presley obviously has been at school since August, and his preschool is only in the mornings. But my husband works from home, and they've just started with him needing to like go train some people. And so he's gonna start going in a couple days a week, and today happened to be one of those days as well. So literally, I'm by myself. I'm gonna be trying to get some organizing and stuff done because it is a little bit of a mess and it's a little bit overwhelming. But I wanted to come and update you guys on reading and stuff. I did not get through as much of role playing as I really wanted to. I literally have only read like 2 chapters. I'm 6% of the way in. I'm gonna be on chapter 3, mostly just because again we had the couch delivered yesterday and I was gonna read during Elliot's nap time, and that was also during Elliot's nap time, and then after that I had the kids. The kids were crazy, and I think part of it is because everything was new. I got so overwhelmed yesterday. Yeah, it was crazy. So I had not been able to do much more of that. I did not read anything after the kids went to bed. I mostly ended up going to bed pretty soon after they did. And then I did also want to talk about, I did start Sensory this morning while I was eating breakfast. I'm 75 pages in to a 175 page comics anthology collection. And this is all sort of short comics. I think there's like over 50 comics in this book about people who have autism and their experience. And so some of these are more emotional experiences or short snippets of like a thing that they want to talk about. And then there's been some other ones that have a longer dialogue and explaining how they got diagnosed maybe later in life, that kind of stuff. I am reading this one because of Ren from the Reading Ren, who is, you know, out and proud autistic. But part of the reason I wanted to pick this up, because Ren actually had a different book that I wanted to read as well. One, it was nonfiction. Two, it is comics and stuff, which makes it very easy to do. But something that I've never really talked about on this channel is that I'm pretty sure Presley and myself are autistic. We've not been diagnosed. Presley, we've tried to get him diagnosed, but it was before he started preschool, and it was inconclusive because he didn't have enough experience out and about with people. He has been diagnosed with anxiety, and I have actually never been officially diagnosed with anxiety because back in the 90s and the early 2000s, that was not really the thing that you went to do unless you really needed help, like meds and stuff. Like I have people in my family who have actually been diagnosed with anxiety and ADHD and bipolar, and those are all things that when you have people in your family that have that kind of stuff, it is possible that you have something as well. And just realizing that I might, and I'm leaning more and more towards that every day, be autistic, because I'm seeing parallels of stuff that Presley has done. Like, so I didn't even start thinking about this until after I had kids, and after he was around 2 or so, realizing that he has lots of patterns and lots of things that he does and things that I used to do when I was younger, and he has literally had the exact same breakfast every day for over 2 years. There's just certain things where I'm leaning more and more towards that. And so far, like I said, I've read about 75 pages of this book. I have some things where people are mentioning how they've acted in elementary school or how it feels to get diagnosed later in life and how it is to be a woman being diagnosed with autism. And there are some things that I relate to. There's other things that I don't, and I think part of it is also the fact that, like, I don't remember a lot of stuff about my childhood, like specifics, and so I can't 100% like go all the way back for that, but feeling like I have friends sometimes, but then I don't have really good friends other times, and like being the odd one out and being very overstimulated sometimes, especially now as a mom where I have 2 kids that are constantly yelling at me or on top of me. I lose it quite often nowadays. So it's just one of those things where I'm like, I wanted to read this and see how I felt about some of this stuff that's in here, some of these experiences that other people had. And so far I'm enjoying it. Some of the art style is really good. Some of it is a little bit more like they maybe are newer to being artists, and it's not a bad thing. It's just maybe not an art style that I would have picked up in an actual like fiction, comic, or graphic novel necessarily. But so yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna finish that one today and try and get through more of role playing, as well as trying to clean up other stuff around the house. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that, I guess. I will give you another update when I finish this one and when I get more into other things. bedtime now. Leon is currently giving the kids a bath. I get to come in here and have my own shower and a little bit of time to myself. And because we went to the bookstore earlier and then picked up both Leon and Elliot from work/school, I didn't get to update you guys. And so I wanted to come in and do that and let you know I finished Sensory, Life on the Spectrum, and I gave it 5 stars. So thank you so much to Ren for introducing this to me, because I never had heard of this. Like, this is a brand new book to me, whereas some of the other ones on this list are not. They're things that I've heard of before or even own. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this, I don't read very much nonfiction, so I do think the comic style was very good for this. But also a lot of it was very, like, affirming. Does that make sense? So some of these were written more in an educational sort of way. Other parts were written in a, like, this is just an experience that I have had while being autistic sort of thing. And there were 40 artists, I believe it said at the end, 40 artists with over 52 different stories or entries. And there were a few that were definitely, like, women who had been diagnosed in their late 20s or even later potentially, and ones that were even self-diagnosed, and a lot of things just felt very, like, real to me. And I know there is some overlap with other things with anxiety and ADHD and stuff, and so there is a little bit of that, and they talked about that a little bit, but at the same time, I really did like the look into these people's lives or their experiences, or even just giving a little bit more information. Like, I really did like it. And so, yeah, I had to give it a 5. Some of the art style was better in my opinion than others, or at least more aesthetically pleasing to me than others, but they all had really good reasons for putting their work out there. Again, like I said, some was informational, some was purely like, here's an experience I had when I was younger, or here's how I feel now with some things. But every single creator was autistic. So yeah, I really did like this one. So again, thank you so much. And yeah, 5 stars. I am hoping to read more now that the kids are going to bed. But I need to go help get them out of the bath. Okay, so I wanted to come and update you guys. I did read some more of role-playing yesterday, last night after the kids went to bed. Still not as far into it as I would like to be, but I'm about 22% in. Gonna be on chapter 9 when I start reading again. There it is. And I'm really enjoying it so far. We've gotten to, like, the full-on, like, these people are almost meeting sort of thing. They've met online now through the MMO that they're playing. Basically, our main female character has been divorced for 5 years. Her son has just went to college out of state, and so she is, like, home alone, and people keep bugging her to be like, hey, you need to get out more. Even her son is like, hey, you need to get out more. And so she decides to join this group, a guild, through the MMO game. Hi. And so she's joining this group. All she really knows about it is that it's a game that she's played before with her son. It's been a little while, but she's joining this guild of community college goers. And so the main guy that we're seeing in here, he does go to community college, but he started doing this after he came to care for his sick dad, who has since passed away before the book started. And so he's, like, in his 50s? 40s or 50s. She's also in her 40s or 50s. But so she thinks that he is, like, this 18, 19, maybe 20-year-old college kid who is running this guild. And when he was told about her by somebody else, it was like his mom's friend from church, and his mom is obviously, like, in her 70s going on 80s, elderly sort of thing, and so he has heard basically just that this is a shut-in who lives at home, and it's a friend of his mom's friend. So he's thinking she's an octogenarian. And that's where we're at so far. They have not actually met. They've just met online, and he thinks she is 80, and she thinks he's 18, when they're really about the same age, and they're gonna have a romance. And so, there's Presley.
I was a bird.
He was a bird. I'm excited to continue. It is just about 12:15 now. And I don't know if you guys can hear Elliot's running around also, but that means it's going to be time for nap soon. We have had lunch and everything, but she's decided to play. Sometimes that lunch gives her a burst of energy. There she is. Hi.
Yes.
So, are you silly? A little bit silly. I'm going to try and read more during her nap time, but that's the update for now. Okay, so it is like 6:30, and I wanted to update, since I have not updated like at all today, that I'm actually now at 78% into role playing. We started at like 20 something. I got a good like halfway into the book, so I think it was like 50%-ish during Elliot's nap, and then I needed to take a little bit of a reading break. But while dinner was sort of finishing up cooking, because I did a slow cooker meal today, and just had to like boil some corn to go with it, I did decide to read more, and I am officially addicted. I have this thing that I have talked about on my channel before, where I feel like the first part of a book is much slower for me than the rest of it, and I feel like it's more just like me wanting to read. Like, it takes me a little bit to get into the story, but yeah, from at least, I think maybe even before the halfway point, but I have been really attached to this. I now have like only like 45 minutes left in this book. I'm definitely planning on finishing it tonight, as long as the kids go to bed on time, because there is school tomorrow. But I'm really enjoying it. I think I mentioned at the beginning of the vlog when I was picking things that one of the reasons I wanted to read this is that it does have a demisexual character, and I feel like the way that they've done that has been really good. Also, part of it is like the main guy character has to take a date to his cousin's wedding. It's almost like a bet sort of thing with his elderly mother, where if he can do this, she will think about end of life stuff and living wills and things that are important, whereas if he doesn't, she just gets to do whatever the fuck she wants, even though she is not the best driver anymore, has been falling more recently, that kind of thing. So that's part of the reason this romance starts to like develop. But I will say, this is a slow burn. Like I said, I'm like 78% in, and we're barely touching the like actual like maybe having a date or relationship sort of aspect. We definitely had the friends creation and relationship stuff going on first, so it is definitely a friends to lovers. Like, I'm really loving the characters, and I'm really loving how they've been talking about a lot of stuff that's happening here, and so currently with where we stand, this is gonna be a 5-star read. And I want to, like, my desk is here, knock on wood, because like I don't really want to jinx it, but at the same time, the vibes of it, the writing style, the actual characters, I'm loving. So I will probably have to update you guys again tomorrow morning once the kids go to school, because of the fact that I want to finish it tonight. I'm crossing my fingers that I can finish it tonight, because I am just enjoying it that much. Good morning and happy Thursday. So I did finish role-playing last night. I'm giving it a 5-star. I really enjoyed this one. I will say, I can't remember if it happened exclusively after I talked to you guys last time or if it happened a little bit beforehand, but please be aware it does have some homophobia and biphobia stuff in the book. So it does have those harder topics along with the romance stuff, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the romance came together really well. I loved the characters, and I think one other thing that I didn't mention is our main female character is half Vietnamese and half white, just like our author actually. I was a little bit, not necessarily surprised to learn that, but like I wasn't aware of that before I was reading, or even during while I was reading. I came to realize it after after when I was filling stuff in on like my reading tracker and things. So yeah, another 5-star read for this vlog, which I don't want to jinx anything, but it's really good because I had no 5-star reads in January. So we are now 2 books down, 2 5-star reads in, and I think I want to pick up one of the physical books next. I do still have Who Fears Death on ebook, which I think I'll probably end up having to go back and forth with a physical book and that one, just because of the fact that like it's sometimes easier to read ebooks. So even if I'm going to pick a physical book, I might not be able to finish it during Elliot's nap or something. Like sometimes she sleeps right next to me and it's great, and then sometimes she sleeps on me and ebooks are easier. So I think they're both technically YA. This is going to be more of like a Chinese mythology, very high fantasy, I'm pretty sure, sort of story. And this is going to be a little bit more creepy horror. You know what? Give me a little bit of time. I'm going to sit down and read the synopses of these, maybe the first chapter or so of each of them, and see which one I gravitate towards more. Based on this one's looking bigger, but you never know. Based on the like size of the text and how the reading speed is for me, I might pick something that I didn't expect. I don't know. I actually have no idea right now what I want to read. So one of these ones though is going to be the next one I pick. I will come back to you guys. Okay, I have decided to go with The Spirit Bares Its Teeth, only because I don't think I currently have the brain capacity to do a really like whole fantasy, high fantasy world right now. I really do want to read that one. But yeah, I was at the point, because I started trying to read that one, and it starts off with a chronology of like history stuff in this world, and I'm just like, my brain shut off. And I looked up the audiobook version of it. I'm not gonna be able to get it for 18 weeks, so I think I might request a hold on that and eventually maybe try it that way, or try reading it physically later. But like as of right now, on this Thursday afternoon, I don't think I can do that. So I didn't even fully read a whole chapter of this, but it does start out with like a black page that says Mors Vincit Omnia, or Death Conquers All, and then it like starts here. And I like the fact that you can tell, I don't know if you guys can tell, if my camera will focus on it, but there's like black lines throughout, which means that we have those black pages. And I don't know what that means, but I'm just feeling this one much more currently. Also, it has like an eye on the cover. Okay, yeah, we're going with The Spirit Bares Its Teeth because of those reasons. I just feel like my brain's gonna wrap it around this a little bit better, and I really do think I want to read this. Oh, and because the version I have has 2 dress jackets actually. So like this is the original, which is still gorgeous, and this is the rainbow crate version, which is also gorgeous. It's a rainbow crate version, so we have nutrition facts. So let's go through those really quickly, just so you guys are like on the same page as me. So it does have 400 pages. The representation is transgender, autistic, and sapphic. Genre is historical fantasy. Plot is queer rage, found family, burn it all down, and vengeful spirits. And it is a young adult book with a first-person point of view. So that's where I'm at. So that's where I'm at. We're gonna be doing this one, at least as a physical book. And like I said before, if I do need an ebook to read as well, I will pick up the Who Fears Death, because I do have that on ebook from the library. Hello, good morning, happy Friday. I wanted to say I did not start reading my book yesterday, or actually I did. I did start reading my book yesterday, and the kids let me read for 1 minute and 51 seconds total. And then we eventually went and got the kids up to bed. They didn't take too long to actually get to sleep, but by that time I was just like super tired. My husband and I ended up just talking for a while, and then I ended up going to bed. So like literally I got about less than 2 minutes into my book, I did decide, and I think I mentioned this, that I was going to go with The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. In those under 2 minutes, do I even have a bookmark in here? I do. Oh, I read like the preface. I got to chapter 1. I did not get very far into this at all. So, because it is Friday, and usually my book vlogs only go through the weekend, and tomorrow is Chinese New Year, I'm thinking this is probably going to be the last book I read. I do not have a feeling I'm going to be able to read this like almost 400-page book plus another almost 400-page book, because Who Fears Death is a longer one, but also so is Song of Silver Flame Like Night, and I don't think I'm going to be able to read that one either. But this would be my 3rd book this week, which is actually pretty good for how my reading has been going right now, especially with kids, and especially since I was not able to get an audiobook this week. I've been listening to a different audiobook in the car, one that is actually on my TBR for February. Did I not mention in this vlog that I have an 11-book TBR for February? But because I did not plan this video until after I filmed my TBR, I did not get any of these books on that TBR. Yeah. So, this is still my priority. I'm just gonna hope that the kids let me read more of this today. It is 10 o'clock. It's gonna be time for me to go get Presley soon. And I edited a video for this weekend. I got bookmark things done for my Patreon. I'm gonna send those out at the post office today on the way to go get Presley. But yeah, it's Friday. Hopefully I can get more into this because less than 2 minutes. Welcome to mom life. Show me, Presley.
This is a rainbow.
A rainbow? Yeah. Wow. What are you making?
Hold on. I need to
Presley, what are you making?
A dragon.
Ooh, a dragon. That's going to be cool. Someone's a little bit overwhelmed with all the people. It's not even that many people. It's a couple cousins. I know. It's okay. That's okay. Look. We got some rubber dragon duckies. We got some snacks and fruit. And the food is almost done. Cooking over here. I was helping at one point. Is it good? Yum, yum, yum. Watermelon. Yum, yum, yum. What is that? It has a tail. Come over here. Here, it's a parade dragon, so you can go. Show Daddy, come on. Hey, Daddy. I don't know, let's see.
It says, what you think is difficult will be done step by step.
So, you're gonna have a difficult year, but do it step by step?
Yeah. What do you think?
Where did Mommy's go? Oh, there it is. It's blending into the tablecloth. I got this one. Good mood, good health, everything goes well. I'm happy for that. And then Presley, a rare opportunity is right in front of you. Yay! Okay, hello everyone. It is Saturday. We already had our Lunar New Year stuff. The kids had naps, and I say kids, I mean 2 kids. I think socializing just definitely drains their battery quite a bit. So yeah, it is now going to be time to like start doing dinner stuff soon. The good thing is that it is my parents' night to cook, and I've been reading a little bit in The Spirit Bares Its Teeth. I'm currently here. So it's not like a ton of pages in. I think I'm like on page 98 because I am in the middle of a chapter. I hate doing that, but I have to do that when Elliot naps next to me, and then usually in the middle of her nap she ends up needing to like come on to me, and then it's just harder to read a physical book. But so far I'm enjoying it. This is a historical fiction fantasy, and sometimes historical stuff is not my thing, and I think most of the time it's the writing style, but this one is very accessible. And it is a like sort of light fantasy. We haven't like gotten into that too much. But basically there are some people that are born with purple eyes, like their irises are purple, and in this world they're able to touch the veil and like see hauntings and stuff. I don't, again, fully know what that means, but one thing also is that women are not allowed to do this. Even if they have the purple eyes, only men. It's like this thing based on almost like a secret society, but not exactly secret. I don't know. Again, the dynamics of this and how everything fits together we haven't fully explored yet, but I bet that's why the book is purple. I am very, very intrigued by this, and our main character in here is actually a boy in a girl's body. So there is some dead naming and stuff because they know that they're a boy, but nobody else treats them that way, except for his brother a little bit, but like this is set, I think, in the 1800s, something like that. So there is that sort of like society, like you were born as a girl, you have to dress a certain way. I'm very intrigued by the dynamics of that, and because of that he really wants to like become a guy in a way of like getting the spirit mark that they need to prove that they're allowed to do the spirit work. That means you're a guy in this like society, and like run away and go and do that. However, ends up getting taken to this like reform school instead because they say that some of the women that want to go and be more independent and that kind of stuff have a sickness. That is all I'm at so far. We're now like exploring that new situation with new other people there. I don't know if there are other characters that are trans like this character, or if it is purely just other women there now. But yeah, I have no idea where this book is actually going to go because we are slowly getting into the world building and the magic system, but again, it's not very big. It feels more like historical fiction with a light touch of fantasy. So I do want to read more, for sure, and that's where we're at. Okay, and so it is Sunday. I was a little bit worried I wasn't going to finish this book on time, but it's actually 4 o'clock. Kids have finished nap, and when I say kids, I actually just mean Elliot. But I also did finish The Spirit Bares Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I'm going to give this a 4 stars. So in this video, lowest rated, but in general, I feel like this vlog has done very, very well. And this is an incredible book. Don't get me wrong. It was a 4-star for me, but depending on what you're actually looking for, you might actually give it a 5-star. Not only did Ashley give it a 5 stars, but when I posted on Instagram just saying that this was my currently reading book, I had somebody else comment saying that they absolutely love this book. And I think for me personally, the reason it's a 4 is partly the historical setting. It wasn't horrible or anything like that. I'm just not as much of a historical fiction person. But I think it was also the fact that like it is light fantasy, light paranormal, and I didn't quite know how that fit in with the historical element. Like it almost felt like it should have just been historical fiction, but then it does pull it together by the end. And this is something that is very graphic. Very graphic. This is going to be more not just like a light fantasy historical fiction. It's horror. Body horror. There is like medical terms and like discussions of like bodily fluids and blood and things like that. Like it gets very in-depth. I will say also it does have an abortion on page. They definitely talk a lot about sexual assaults, especially to kids. Like, one of the kids in here is like 14 and they're pregnant after a sexual assault. There isn't a full-on like rape on page, but it is heavily implied. So there are other very graphic things in this book, and that is something that, like, just be aware of when you're going into it. I don't know if there's a way to look up like full-on trigger warnings. Maybe this author has some. And I've been trying to be really good about this on my story graph, putting those things on there, because I find it easier because they have like an actual drop down menu of like things that you can pick for trigger warnings and content warnings. I'm trying to be really good about that, and there was a lot that I picked for this. And then one other thing that I do want to mention is that our author is trans and our main character is trans, and so it was an uncomfortable read in the fact that we get a lot of body dysmorphia in here, and that is not something that I have ever personally really struggled with, especially not to the extent that our character does here, being trapped in a woman's body in like the 1800s, when not only is being a woman not seen as good as being a man, but like in this light fantasy world, this light paranormal world, being a woman means you're not able to do certain things that men are allowed to do, even if you have the capability of doing it. So there was a lot of very like things in here that made me uncomfortable to read. Not in a bad way where I wanted to like DNF this book, it was horrible, but in a way that it was like, this was a tough read for some of those reasons. But I did still enjoy my time with it. I still liked how the ending came together, and so if you're able to get through knowing that there is going to be some very like horror filled like things in there, very uncomfortable things to read, try it out for sure. Just not my favorite read of this video, obviously. And so because it is Sunday, I'm gonna have to end this here. I'm thinking of doing a part 2 to this video, maybe later in the year, because I do still have Song of Silver Flame Like Night like on my TBR. I also recently got approved for the audiobook on my library of Wilderlore. Like, I do want to read that one. And there were some other things that I really wanted to read from other creators that I watch that are in their favorites that I would have to request from my library or purchase. And if I go the library route, it's gonna take weeks. So if I decide to do this in the future, I think that's what I'm gonna do, is put some stuff on hold, and then maybe when certain things come together, we will do that. I also still want to try out Who Fears Death. It was just something that I wasn't really able to pick up this week, and that's okay because I still have a huge ass TBR for February. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely go check out the creators that I talked about in this vlog, especially the ones that I read from here. So Ashley from A Bookish Realm for The Spirit Bares Its Teeth, Isabel from Happy For Now for role-playing, and Ren from The Reading Ren for Sensory, A Life on the Spectrum. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays. So I will see you then. Bye!